Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmed Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. Let's take a look at what we're discussing. First of all, we're going to talk about Pakistan team's training and practice session, and also I think some of the particular names that are talk of the town as well. Now, many things have been said over various platforms, but I think all in all you need to realize that cricket is something that will continue, and therefore in order for cricket to continue you need to bring stability back to the side as well. The test squad has also been announced for the 3-match test series in Australia, being led by Shan Masood. A couple of inclusion and exclusions, we will be discussing them in detail, and also this Australia tour is not an easy one, and I think once you're a new captain or you're new into the squad, you're new into the management, and immediately you're playing Australia, I feel for you. So I think we're going to be talking about this as well in detail, and what are the chances for Pakistan and a lot of these youngsters. I think that strategy of keeping a couple of youngsters with the squad for that work environment is also something that would really help the cause as well. And what's the best playing 11? We'll try to explore these opportunities as well. Then of course we move on and talk about some more interesting things in the world of cricket. The Australian cricket team, the world champions for the 6 times in ODI cricket, have returned home, and of course why not to a hero's welcome. Pat Cummins led Australian side defeated India in the final of the ICC Men's ODI World Cup 2023, lifting the title for the 6th time, and now of course they return home as very proud members of Cricket Australia. So we'll be talking all about that, and also Pat Cummins talked to the press on the airport as well. That was something interesting. So all about that and Team Australia and their journey to World Cup glory. And then of course Pakistan women's team as well. We'll be discussing their details and their practice sessions, and what's up next for them as well is something that will be on the card. So that's all what we're discussing. Time now to introduce the guests. First of all, in studios, we've been joined by cricket expert and analyst Saad Inam. Assalamu alaikum, Saad. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. Pleasure to be here.
We've also been joined by cricket commentator and cricket expert Mahmood Al Hassan. Assalamu alaikum, Mahmood. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm fine.
Great to have you on the show as well. And also discussing a bunch of cricket today in detail, we've been joined by Yaruk, who joins us as well. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Great to have you on the show as well. All right, gentlemen, of course, we start off with the fact that, Saad, let's be honest, the frequency of cricket right now is something that we really need to, take seriously, because this is an Australia series, then they're playing a T20 series in New Zealand, after a couple of months by June, they're playing a T20 World Cup. After that, next year, immediately, they've got an ICC Champions Trophy at home. So obviously, the frequency is going to stay there. And what happened in the World Cup should be, I think, a shut case now, and the team should be looking forward. What is your overall analysis of the past couple of days and the developments that were made in the PCB?
I think it's a great job that PCB has done a few changes. Irrespective of that, something that needed to be done. I think Pakistan went into this World Cup as favorites. Obviously, we thought that most of the nation thought, and even like the cricketers thought, that they probably are going to win it. But obviously, unfortunate events happen, and sometimes, due to scheduling or whatever you name it, whatever reason that might be, that needed to be addressed, and that is something that PCB has kind of looked into it. And they have made those changes and brought back some of those key features that actually helped Pakistan actually win the trophies. Because for the last 4 years, under Babar's captaincy, as much as that was anticipated, it couldn't actually happen. And that was something that was an eye-opening moment for a lot of people, especially in the PCB department too, to actually make those changes and come forward through with that. So I think coming forward with this Australian series, and then like you mentioned, that there's a T20 World Cup coming up, I think we should always be back onto the game. I think it's better that Pakistan got eliminated in the group stage. I mean, it was a way, gloomy, and this weekend has been really, really gloomy for the neighbors, because obviously coming up to that point and then losing big time, I think it's probably more devastating for a team than just coming over on that. So coming over to the back of packing your bags back and then just striving up, that's something that Pakistan should be looking forward to. And I think it's really great how like many cricketers are actually canceling their contracts within the upcoming T10 event in the coming month or so, and just because they want to focus on the domestic cricket. And I think that is something that is very important, that we've been discussing our entire World Cup transmissions with a lot of guests that have been here, that Pakistan should be obviously focusing on the most important key players during their domestic circuits, and this is something that we're seeing that's going to happen. And I'm really glad that this is something that is actually putting that is getting the attention specifically. So that is something that I'm really hopeful for Pakistan to actually create those deficiencies that kind of really made us lose this World
Well,
Cup.
Saad, particularly for the players' mindset, I think a lot of us don't understand what they're going through as well. There's so much talk and so much hype about the system, the management, and at a very crucial time. And I think we need to discuss the fact that the players directly or indirectly are affected. And that's why in order for them to focus on cricket, it's very important that not only the PCB, but I think apart from the PCB, various media outlets, especially in Pakistan when it comes to sports journalism, have a responsibility to make sure that no such negativity is promoted or no such rumors are given any fuel that might tarnish the team's mindset going into an important series.
I think you have a really great point there. And most importantly, I think for the most players too, and especially the kind of news that we were actually seeing with the WhatsApp chat leaks and a lot of stuff that was happening within the PCB and outside in the journalism department, that was really, really sad to see. And that actually does have an impact, because nowadays, everyone, I mean, back in the day, there used to be newspapers next day, but today, like, you're just, news goes viral and then it's on everybody's phone. And with this team that we have, especially youngsters, because our team is actually comprised of many young players. I mean, most of them are actually TikTok celebrities too, going into the World Cup. I mean, Hassan Ali for sure. I mean, you think about that, and then you see, like, people who are into the social media, obviously they'll be seeing a lot of that backlash coming through and a lot of stuff that's happening over on the social media. So that is something that needed to be, put forward. But obviously it's a management's decision that they have to keep that in check. And it was, a great failure from the, management department that they couldn't contain that sort of ruckus that was supposed to be, blown out of proportion specifically. I think that. And the other part is that it also kind of revolves around to the players too, because as professionals, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was happening with the Australian team, with the England team and the New Zealand team, that they couldn't adapt to the pitches. I mean, right before the World Cup, Pat Cummins had to go to the pitch to actually take a picture with knowing that
was more of a psychological aspect of it. I think he was just trying to mess with the minds of the Indians, like Inception, doing something like that. So I think more of a tactical approach.
I think to each their own, but I think most probably that obviously if it's your home ground, right, you have the ability to change stuff to your advantage.
What Pat Cummins did was exactly what's the concept of a CCTV camera. So, anybody trying to create mischief over there, when he finds a CCTV camera, he would be a bit cautious. So I think that's what Pat Cummins was trying to promote. But I like the fact, I think this tactical approach from the Australians is always great to see, and this is not the first time something like this is happening. There have been other instances where they've done pretty strange things in the world of cricket. But Mahmood, coming particularly to this Australia series, the squad has been announced. Shan Masood is the captain. One thing particularly people have been talking about, and I don't agree, is trying to assess Shan Masood on the basis of his stats. Now we have to understand this is a guy who has played limited number of test cricket. Unless he's played at least 20 to 30 or 50 test matches, you can't gauge a guy's performance before that.
Emma, let's start about the captaincy matters. That you have seen that the new management committee has given chance to Shan Masood to show his best, and he has been appointed as a captain of Pakistan cricket team for the tour of Australia. And some TV journalists started complaining that he is not so good for the captaincy because he has not played much matches. But you have seen that he, in his performance, in his PSL performance and his captaincy skill, the way he captained and the way he controlled the team, the way he showed is best. And after this performance in PSL, then we have seen his performance in Yorkshire as a captain. He has shown his best, and he proves that he has a captaincy skill and he can show his best. So in this way, I must say that it's not a point to take again and again that Shan Masood is not a good choice. Shan is a good choice, and he can handle the team in a better way. And we have seen that his performance in Yorkshire, in PSL, and then we have seen his performance in T20. It's better, but giving the chance to a newbie is a good sign by the management committee of PCB.
Absolutely. I think stability is the need of the hour, and there's so much talk about cricket in Pakistan. Obviously, we tend to take it a bit seriously as cricket fans as well. But Yaruk, talking about this entire concept now, he's played 30 test matches, I understand. But like I said, that you got to give guy consistency, let him be in the team, something that we've seen from other teams around the world. And right now, if he was the best option, at the end of the day, he is the captain of the Pakistan test team. And all of us across the board should respect that.
Of course, absolutely. I mean, Shan Masood has been made the captain for the men's test side for the cycle of 2023 to 2025. So we've got 2 more years in the World Test Championship, and he's been appointed a captain for the next 2 years. I think we should back him. We should not go towards his stats. I think he's got a brilliant head on his shoulders. He's a very sensible guy. He has led Multan Sultans to the final of the PSL. I just feel going into Australia, you always needed someone who's stable. And after Babar resigning from all 3 formats, it had a huge hole, and PCB were basically looking out to find a captain who is stable enough, who's got a good head on his shoulders, and who can basically communicate with these guys properly. And I think Shan Masood is also, there's another plus with Shan Masood, like he's someone who he speaks to the press better than anyone else in Pakistan cricket team, and these are called optics. These are some things that we need as a nation for us to be presented globally in a better way. And I think Shan Masood is someone who Mickey Arthur also rated very highly whenever he was the coach of the director of Pakistan cricket team. He's now been demoted, but we've got guys like Mohammad Hafiz. He's someone who just retired recently. He's a director of Pakistan cricket. Then we've got Wahab Riaz. Like, I think they've selected a really balanced 18-member squad. I think we'll come to that in a bit. But I feel this is something, we're going in the right direction. And I just wish Pakistan cricket team all the good luck for the next for the tour of Australia.
Well, Yaruk, it's interesting because I think throughout the year there is hue and cry about giving domestic cricket importance, and immediately if there is a new chief selector and he starts picking guys up from domestic cricket, then people start making all sorts of excuses. So I think we can never be happy as cricket fans for Pakistan particularly. But the fact is that obviously I think the reforms in the domestic cricket are only going to come when we see people in the right format playing for the right team.
Absolutely. I think the importance of domestic cricket is, it should be the utmost important, because we've seen the World Cup, we've seen our players getting fatigued because they had a Sri Lankan tour before, and then we had a lot of different schedules, like we had to come back from Sri Lanka to Pakistan to play the Asia Cup. I think our players got fatigued, they got dehydrated, especially our fast bowlers. Naseem Shah got injured, everybody knows that, and I think that disrupted the balance of our side. And going into that World Cup, we were the favourites, but to be able to just win 4 out of 10 games, it was very disappointing, humiliating as Pakistani fans. We care about our team. This is our team. We've been following this for about good 15-20 years. So we really wanted them to perform well. We wanted Babar to perform well. Unfortunately, he couldn't, but it does not mean that he's not a good player. He's a brilliant player. He's among the top 4 or 5 in the world, and I think going into Australia, he would be like I was just thinking, every of our player would be wanting to go there and prove a point, especially Babar Azam. I saw his video yesterday. He was in the nets practicing, and he's middling every single ball. You've got the guys like Saim Ayub, who's been inducted in the team. Then you've got Saud Shakil. I feel like this is a huge tour for a guy like Saud Shakil.
If somebody asked me, Yaruk, to pick one individual who I would believe is going to be performing for you apart from Babar Azam, I would pick Saud Shakil. I think technically solid for those conditions.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got even pace and even bounce in Australia. So a person who's a left-hander in the middle order, I think, is a really exciting talent, and it could be a breakthrough tour for Saud Shakil. And some of the others also, like Shan Masood, he is the captain of the side. He would want to lead from the front, but I feel like it's a massive opportunity for every one of them. Like starting from Shan Masood, Imamul Haq was dropped, remember, in the World Cup, the last 2-3 games. He would be wanting to prove a point. Same as Abdullah Shafiq. He is there in the test squad. He was brilliant in Sri Lanka when we played the test series over there. But this is a whole new challenge for them, and I think they should accept the challenge with open arms.
Certainly. Saad, one thing particularly that we need to gauge now, that over the years, traditionally, Australia has always been considered a surface that is absolutely terrifying for the batters and threatening when you talk about that pace and bounce. But since the last couple of years, we have seen a lot of runs on offer. That means that, traditionally batters who can bat well have got the opportunity of scoring runs. And that's where I think we need to be particularly focused on, of getting runs in Australia, because they are runs on offer. But on the other hand, of course, we have been known for carrying a particularly young bowling side over the years.
100%. I think, Ahmed, if we see to a perspective that how Australia has tackled all these series, especially leading up into the World Cup, the rotation has been immaculate. And that is something which I think the chief selector has really eyed for with the inclusion and the exclusions too, is to actually rotate the players to, actually suit for the best and actually create a team that is going to, prove them best. And obviously it's a great challenge going into Australia. And the challenges are huge, understanding that how, the pitches actually are compared to, the South Asian the pitches specifically. I think most importantly how Yaruk was actually mentioning about Saud Shakil too, I wanted to come back to that point. Saud Shakil happened to be that player which Mohammad Yusuf thought as a Shafiq could be for Pakistan as in the middle order. That sound of a player. So I think going into this series specifically, I think Pakistan would have a great chance of, putting it down, and Shan Masood are actually going to, have a challenge, especially this first series happens to be one of the, against the world champions, as we put it. So it's not going to be easy for them, and they're not just world champions in terms of the World Cup in ODIs. They actually won the Test Championship too. So that's a huge challenge too. So keeping that in mind, I think Pakistan would have to put a lot of effort into, scoring and actually, putting up to that medal and proving that they're worth it. And this is something that they kind of keep, just to keep their momentum, keep on going forward.
Saad is not just an analyst but a brainy one as well. He was just before the show asking me about Mohammad Abbas. So, technically speaking, over the years, we have ignored people who have made a major difference for Pakistan in bowling and around the world, Saad. Let's be honest. I think that is a major miss right now.
Oh my God. I mean, the stuff that he has been doing in this, England county championships, and it's been marvelous. I think the English people, especially in the England, they kind of see the cricketers and even the fans, they see value in Mohammad Abbas more than I think PCB does. And I think the inclusion of Mohammad Abbas in this World Cup could have been better what Mohammad Shami did when he replaced Hardik Pandya. I think that sound and that seam and
Discipline,
that accuracy,
yes. Discipline.
He is that bowler, and I think that India, even though they lack that pace, but that discipline, that accuracy is immaculate. So that is something that you got to give in India too. That their marking and their everything, especially from the stamina down to their fitness, and actually keeping on doing 10 overs specifically back to back. I mean, that is, I think, outstanding, and that is something that Pakistan really needed when we lost Naseem Shah to an injury. I think that inclusion would have been marvelous instead of going with the reserve of Zaman Khan. I think he is actually outstanding in terms of death overs. We've seen them perform in the BPL and the Champions League, and even in the PSL tournament when he plays for Lahore Qalandars. So I think going forward with Mohammad Abbas would have been a great decision. I think he should have been included in this Test series. He should have been given that chance. But yeah, I think if someone was supposed to tell PCB, they might as well.
Well, Mahmood, let's talk about that bowling perspective now. I mean, we have known to carry a very young bowling unit in often tours to Australia. We remember when Musa and everybody were just thrown into that series, and which I thought was a lot of injustice when you talk about young bowlers who hadn't played a lot of domestic cricket immediately being given the longest format of the game. But now what we see is that PCB is trying to find that balance in bowling, because obviously I keep on mentioning that the problem right now with our bowlers is not the skill, is not the talent, it's the ability to bowl longer spells in cricket.
Well, Ahmed, you have seen that our bowlers have shown their best in all formats except Test, because the reason that our bowlers are suffering again and again, they have played shorter format again and again. They have played T20 crickets, they have played league crickets, they have played county crickets, they have played T10 crickets. Everywhere they are playing county cricket, they are playing shorter format of cricket. We have seen the discussion of Wahab Riaz with Haris Rauf, and he is not agree to play this series. So in this way, I must say that the picking of the players from domestic level, you have seen that what we have discussed in our last show, that the Indian team is coming with a balanced bowling attack. Why? Because their players are grinding in their domestic structure. They have played a lot of cricket in the domestic level, so that's why their bowling is on the fine level. And we have seen that our players are suffering, like Shaheen Shah Afridi. Why he suffered a lot? Because he have played too much league cricket. He's playing BPL, playing PSL, so again and again playing shorter format of cricket. It leads to the dangerous side of bowling Pakistan cricket. So I must say that giving the chance to Khurram Shahzad, one of the best performers from the domestic level, then adding of the Amir Jamal, it's a good decision. So I must say that the players picked up from the domestic level, they will show their best in the upcoming series. So in this way, according to my opinion, that this bowling attack will be fine, because many players have played domestic level and they will show their best in the upcoming.
Yaruk, this is a very interesting debate, because I am furious when I see the ability of our bowlers to bowl in the shorter format, but still they struggle when it comes to bowling longer spells. And obviously Test cricket requires a lot of grit and determination. Now I can just highlight a couple of these factors. Shaheen Shah Afridi's played 36 first class matches, right? 9 for Mohammad Wasim Jr., about 74 for Fahim Ashraf, a combined of 119. Why I'm talking about only these three? Because they have been the prime choice for the last couple of years. Now if we talk about Mir Hamza, this gentleman alone has played 105 first class matches and his number of wickets is more than 400. And that tells us that this guy has been completely involved with the domestic circuit. Obviously when it came to Test cricket, he was given a handful of those Test matches, probably because the team management at that time didn't feel that he would fit into the combination. How do you see this particular difference now?
Well, honestly, we have seen our sides going to Australia. Historically, we've always been below average. When you talk about Mir Hamza, and when you talk about our fast bowlers not being able to bowl in Test match cricket, again, like everyone mentioned, like Saad mentioned, like Mahmood mentioned, like it is all about bowling in a 4-day match. Yesterday, I heard that Haris Rauf has not played a 4-day match in the past year and a half. So you cannot expect a fast bowler to be, wake up one day and bowl 20 overs in a day. There's got to be a lot of method behind it. There's a lot of practice. There's a lot of hard work that needs to be done before that guy is thrown into a Test match. And we were also talking about Mohammad Abbas. I mean, I agree with Saad over there. Like, Mohammad Abbas has been exceptional when he's playing county cricket in England. He's someone who he's a bit like Muhammad Asif. He's someone who moves the ball off the seam from the same wrist position in and out, and he's someone who's beautiful when you watch him bowl. But the latest argument that they had was Mohammad Abbas was not selected because he has decreased his pace. I mean, yeah, I get it that in Australia you need someone who's got high pace, and that's why I think the inclusion of Khurram Shahzad is absolutely brilliant. I think he's someone who can bowl around 138, 140 kilometers per hour, and he's someone who's nippy. He's got a good bouncer. And then you've got Mohammad Wasim, who can bowl 140, and he can bowl in consistent areas. I just feel like in Pakistan's fast bowling, because we play so much T20 cricket and so much ODI cricket, especially the leagues, our fast bowlers, they just do not hit the good length more often. And the only difference between Indian fast bowlers and our fast bowlers were that they used to hit one particular length.
So you'd rather have a bowler who's a bit nippy than a bowler like Mohammad Abbas, who's taken 660 wickets in first class cricket?
I mean, Mohammad Abbas is exceptional, but he has not been in the team for the past couple of years. I mean,
that's the question. That's the question what we're asking. Why?
What? I mean, only the selectors can answer this. But what I can say is Mohammad Abbas was brilliant when he played for Pakistan. He should still be in the squad because he is an experienced bowler, and we don't have anyone like him.
Yeah, I can actually add another bit. I think Yaruk mentioned an important point, but what I can add that he was brilliant when he played for Pakistan, and he was brilliant when he was dropped from the Pakistan side as well. So I think I understand. But traditionally over the years, even right now, I think I can. Why? Because we tend to gauge a lot of our cricket with India. We remember Praveen Kumar was very successful with a limited number of pace. Obviously, right now bowlers are trying to hit that baseline, because somebody very adamantly once said that in order to play for Pakistan, if I can hit 150 Ks, then I'm definitely in line to play for Pakistan. So I think our pace mantra is always going to be there. But for me, pace was Shoaib Akhtar. Nobody after that, I didn't see pace. I'll be very honest. That was pace. That was grit. That was determination. Yes, Sean Tate was pace. Dale Steyn was pace. I can go on and on. But right now, I see these young fast bowlers. Yaruk mentioned a very important point, that nippy factor, hitting the right length. I see a lot of these young boys right now, Yaruk, who are coming from under 16, under 19 circuit, who just want to bowl quick. And when it comes to recognizing the right length to bowl, they're clueless.
Absolutely. I mean, when like again we compare ourselves with India, right? We compare our fast bowlers with the likes of Shami, Bumrah, Siraj. What they do is they just hit good length all over, like every over, they just try and apply pressure. And when, like, since we talked about the World Cup and why we had a bizarre campaign, it's because our bowlers were not able to hit the right length. And you're absolutely right. When you talk about the nip, it happens with a good length. It happens when you hit the deck hard. And I just feel like our fast bowlers, they just try and bowl as quickly as possible. They just try and float it up there, especially Shaheen Shah Afridi. That's why he gets a lot of wickets too. But he's got to understand too, because in Test match cricket, you cannot get wickets like you get wickets in T20 cricket by bowling full. Within the stumps, you can't do that. In Test match cricket, you've got to bowl line and length on a good length. From the same position, you've got to like move the ball away. And after like building pressure off dot balls is only when you'll be able to get wickets in Test match cricket. It is very hard. It is the most hardest format of cricket. And for that, you've got to be mentally and physically prepared.
I mean, right now, the best person who can tell these boys to bowl is the chief selector. So the closest one we have in that team management, because Mohan is already gone. So Saad, it does come down to the fact that, seam position, your right action, the way you're ending that angle, the hip position, where the foot is landing, all of these technicalities and the science, I can go on and on about bowling. But, the fact is that over the years, what Yaruk mentioned, and what's been happening is that they've been so exposed to playing T20 brand of cricket that more than 4 overs has been very difficult for most of these bowlers.
I think that's 100% true to a fact that if you're playing a short format, then it's easy for you to hit a target that you're trying to target for. And then if you are playing on a longer format, it actually takes a lot of training. It actually takes a lot of hours to be put in. It actually takes a lot of mindset that actually keeps pushing you forward. And that is something that, a lot of these fast bowlers that Yaruk just mentioned, and you were just mentioning too, the pace mantra, It's not all about pace. It's about actually going into the pitch and reading it and seeing those cracks and actually utilizing them. It's all about that, and it's actually, understanding how the game is moving per over. And every over, the things can change. I was actually discussing it with my, teacher the other day. Back in the high school days, I used to study math, so I used to, discuss cricket with my teacher all the day. I was like, cricket is such an unpredictable sport, like for football, or like American football, or like even basketball. Like things you're not much are predictable too. It actually doesn't fall that way. And even like the rules, like the DLS method and even the net run rate that we actually saw in this World Cup, they actually don't fall according to, how the cricket game could go. I mean, especially if someone was to see the Afghanistan-Australia match, up until the 4th wicket was down, I like most of the people would be thinking like, hey, they've actually lost the game. But no, Maxwell stood up, and then against all odds, he actually defeated Afghanistan, and one of the best performances, for me, one of the best, it's probably the toppest. It actually tops that list, and that is the beauty of cricket. So I think, and we've seen a lot of those, like with the Shahid Afridi stuff, and even Fakhar Zaman's knock against South Africa too, hadn't, it were Quinton de Kock who actually had him run out, he probably couldn't snatch it from the South African team too. So I think, most importantly, the players actually have to be fit in order to strive and keep that momentum, keep going, and to target that accuracy and keep that coming back. And then in the inclusion of the mindset and being smart as well. So I think it's a combination of all of those variables, and then and only then could you trick a batsman to get out. I think, as Yaruk was mentioning, great stuff about Mohammad Asif. I think he was one of those players. He didn't actually have pace. He wasn't able to bowl above 145s consistently. He probably could be topping 138 at max. But the beauty about that was that he knew what part of the pitch to hit. He knew where to hit it to, and he actually played with the batsman's mindset. He used to trick the batsman into believing that this ball is going to come this way with the same wrist action. So I think that, including all of that, actually has to put into perspective, and that is something that the chief selector could only, like you said, something that they could teach him.
Certainly. I think right now we can say that we've got the current best minds involved with Pakistan cricket. But then again, Mohammad Asif, once in a lifetime bowler, he too played more than 100 first-class games. So my argument is still going to stress that more importance to the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy particularly. And I think that's very important. Even people who have a disagreement with Fahim Ashraf, I think he still invests a lot in first-class cricket. He plays a lot of first-class cricket, more than 70 games right now. So he puts a lot of grit and determination in there as well. Mahmood, you've often been involved with some of these first-class games as well, and you're witnessing them as well. How can we increase the talent pool in the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy? How can we give it more importance than what we are seeing now?
Well, Ahmed, we have seen that recently I have compared the bowling attack of India and the bowling attack of Pakistan. That why their bowlers are utilizing their pace, they have strategies, they have developed techniques, and they have utilized while they're playing the matches. Rest, if we talk about Pakistani bowling side, if we take Naseem Shah on the side, we have only the Shaheen Shah Afridi, the Haris Rauf, the main bowlers. And the Haris Rauf, when the Shaheen was injured, he was added in the team in this last test match. The way he performed clearly shown that he has entered in the game with the T20 mindset. For me, there must be a strict level of fitness for test cricket other than the T20 cricket or the ODI cricket. Why? Because it's a longer format cricket, and you have to read the pitch clearly, you have to utilize your strategy, you have to use your techniques to tackle the batsmen with your deliveries, and our batsmen are unable to do this. So here I must say that the domestic structure is very important. And in this year you have seen that a lot of players have utilized their strategy, they have developed their shell, they have shown their self in the domestic level, especially in the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy.
There have been a lot of runs as well in the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy this season.
And from there I must say that the talent arises, and the talent like Khurram Shahzad, one of the best performer of Quaid-e-Azam Trophy, then Pakistan Cup. And why he has grinded too much, he has shown himself in the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy, he has shown himself in the Pakistan Cup, and he will show himself in the Pakistan Cup, and he has shown his best in the National T20 Cup.
Absolutely.
So in this way I must say that the more superb is your domestic structure, the more superb is your playing 11 for the test series.
Well, this is interesting. Now, Yaruk, the bigger question is that we've got a Quaid-e-Azam Trophy, we've got a number of teams. Now with the change in structure, again, we've got departmental cricket that is going to start from April next year. We already had a first class season, so things are improving gradually. But what's the way to give 4-day cricket as much as importance than what we see, with some commercial leagues around the world?
Well, I absolutely agree with your point. I feel Pakistani players are not involved in their domestic cricket rather than they go and play leagues all over the world. It is not just Pakistan cricket. I think when you talk about Australia, the likes of Mitchell Starc, Pat Cummins, these guys are being looked after by their cricket board. They are being paid better so that they go and invest on themselves. They train hard. They train for Australia series. They don't train for IPL. They don't train for any other particular T20 league. They go and invest. When they know that it's a World Cup year, they go and they invest on themselves. They go, they train, they see how the conditions would be over there, and they try and adapt to them as quickly as they can. I think the only thing that I would say with regards to Pakistan cricket is our players are not focused on domestic cricket because obviously there's a money value. Everybody should understand that. But you got to keep a balance between okay, you can play 2 leagues a year, 1 league a year. I think PCB has also done that. They've told the players that you can play 2 leagues a year, but this should only happen when there's no ICC event in that year. You can do that. But for us to be able to expect our players to perform at the highest level and also go and compete in leagues, I saw the likes of Shaheen Shah Afridi and Haris Rauf. They were, right before the Asia Cup, they were in the 100. They were playing the 100 league in UK. And for us to be able to expect that they would come from England to Sri Lanka in that hydration, the heat over there, and to be able to perform over there, it is just asking too much.
But Yaruk, it also then boils down to the fact that that Pakistan cap should be earned. And in the last 5 years, we have handed debuts on the basis of particularly PSL performances, let's be honest.
Of course. You see, we have not seen much of Zaman Khan, but he's also one who was from Lahore Qalandars. I'm not taking anything away from Zaman Khan. He's a brilliant death bowler. He can defend 10 or 12 of the last over. We know that. We've seen that. But he could have won us the Asia Cup also if that did not edge away for 4 of Sri Lanka. But coming back to why we are handing caps to the debutants in the past 5 years, I feel like it's a lot to do. I think we should have a separate pool of players for our Test match cricket, for our one-day cricket, and for our T20 cricket. I think right now what we have done is we have made one Test captain, who is Shan Masood. I think he's going to have his own team. He's going to have his own mindset. And then you've got the likes of Shaheen Shah Afridi. He's someone who is typically an aggressive. He has an aggressive nature, and he's someone who can lead the T20 side really well. And I feel like once he does that, he will gain more experience, and then Shan Masood will have his own bunch of players. So they will tell the captain what. Okay, it's the other way around. The captain will tell the players what he requires, and then the players will follow. And I also feel that once you go to Australia, we all of us see that our fast bowlers, they don't hit the right lengths because in Australia, in South Asia, the good length is over there, like 6 to 8 meter length.
Yeah, it changes. It varies.
It varies. Like in Australia, you have to bowl like the 4 meter length. For us to be able to extract good bounce, because in Australia it is very different bowling into any other conditions. Compared that to Australia, like. Also,
certainly, I understand a lot of factors go in, the softer grounds and everything in between. A lot of factors are going to go in. But then again, I think this is going to be a very important series, and without being any more critical, all of us should hope for the very best from this team, and with a lot of good wishes to Shan Masood and company. That being said, we've got to focus on women's cricket as well, and we've got this report by Sabah. Let's take a look and then we come back.
17-member women's squad announced for New Zealand tour. The tour will kick off with 3 T20 internationals in Dunedin and Queenstown from 3rd to 9th of December, followed by 3 ICC Women's Championship ODIs against New Zealand from the 12th to 18th of December in Queenstown and Christchurch. Fatima Sana, Umaima Sohail and Shawal Zulfiqar stage comeback in Pakistan women's team. The squad comprises of Nida Dar, captain, Alia Riaz, Bisma Maroof, Dania Beg, Fatima Sana and others. The support personnel include the manager Nahida Khan, interim head coach, and a team of coaches and staff support. The team is set to depart for New Zealand from Karachi via Dubai on the early hours of 24th of November. Chief Selector Salim Jafar said, given the challenges our batters faced in Bangladesh, the selection committee have made strategic changes for the New Zealand tour. Umaima Sohail and Shawal Zulfiqar's consistent performances for Pakistan A recently have earned them a well-deserved spot in the squad. Addressing the concerns we identified in the previous series in our batting department, looking at the conditions in the New Zealand, we have also focused on strengthening our fast bowling department. With the return of Fatima Sana, we are hopeful her experience and skill set will be invaluable, particularly to the challenging conditions we expect in New Zealand.
Well, there you have it, all you need to know about women's cricket. Of course, they depart tomorrow for the New Zealand series, and I think it's a very important juncture because, Saad, I think final word, there needs to be more invested in women's cricket in Pakistan.
Great job how they have been presenting themselves, and I think more power to them. Exceptional performances, and I think most probably that is because, the cricket, with the technology advancements and how the cricket has changed over the period of time, I think that has actually improved very much as well. So I think more power to them.
Certainly. Particularly this women's series is going to be very important, but what I've really missed out in the past couple of series is then again it all boils down to our brand of cricket that we're playing and what the world is playing. That is something that is different. But obviously I think in the shows to come throughout the week we will be discussing this in detail. Saad Inam, Mahmoodul Hassan and Yaruk, thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. It was a pleasure having you on the show. That wraps it up from me and the entire team of Sports Extra. It's goodbye for now.